You know, Mike, it's pretty hard to believe that the NFL let the Chiefs get Jalen Royals at the end of the fourth freaking round. So let's talk about it. Good morning, Chiefs Kingdom. How we doing? It's Tuesday, May 20th. Appreciate you guys rolling in here. Let's talk a little Chiefs football, and there's not a whole lot to talk about, Mike. There really isn't, but we can be pretty excited about the guys that are coming to this team that we're going to get to see a little action soon when camp kicks off. So everybody can be happy about that. Appreciate y'all being here. If you're just rolling in here, hit that like button. Help us get it out to more people. Also, get in the comments. Don't be afraid to talk. You can lurk if you want, but we'd prefer you talk. Let's have a good time. Mike, Jalen Royals, man. Getting him at the end of the fourth round was pretty wild. I wasn't for sure why he was still on the board. I guess it was an injury concern. The Chiefs don't care about no injuries. They're like, we're going to take our guy. We're taking him. He was the 11th ranked in athleticism and wide receivers at the combine, 8th ranked in production, 6th ranked in total score out of all receivers, the number 6 guy. And we were able to get him at the end of the fourth round. How excited are you about Jalen Royals, Mike?
I really like Jalen Royals. We talked about him plenty of times during our, pre-draft process. He was one of our favorite receivers. I think our initial rankings had him like 7 or 8. I think he eventually moved down and settled somewhere around 8 or 9 for us in our top 10. It was kind of odd to see him slip down the draft board like he did, but hey, we'll take it if it comes to that. The reasons that I kept reading that he was sliding down the boards was they didn't know a significant amount about the foot injury that he had suffered this past season. And then also they said he wasn't explosive. He wasn't fast. And I find that very hard to correlate because when you look at his numbers at the combine, he runs a 4.42. That is an elite number. Kyle Williams was known as one of the burners in this draft class, and he was a 4.4. So it was only 0.02 slower. Luther Burden ran a 4.41. Royals ran a 4.42, and that's at 5 pounds heavier. He also had a 1.49 10-yard split. That was faster than Matt Golden. And Matt Golden lit up the combine. So I'm not really understanding the concerns about his not being fast and not being quick. It doesn't make any sense. I think they let a gem fall right to the Chiefs.
Of course, baby. That's what they do. They let it happen every year. And the Chiefs are going to cash in. They're going to take advantage. So not a whole lot of news going on, obviously. But Jalen Royals has been a bit of a conversation for people. And he's also representing the Chiefs at the NFLPA Rookie Premiere, lighting it up in his new threads, baby. Looking at Jalen Royals in the red and gold with that number 11. Does it make you think of Alex Smith a little bit? But they're like, wait a minute, that's not Alex Smith.
I like the number. I like the number. I think it's nice. I think it's fun. He looks pretty suave in the red and gold.
Looking good, man. Looking good.
I just read an article here, and I'll bring up some of the stuff. Adam Teicher released an article a few days ago talking about how he reminds him of Rashee Rice, and the Chiefs scouts remind him of Rashee Rice. Do you see Rashee Rice in his game?
Yeah, actually I do. I think they have a similar skill set. I've seen a couple other guys in his game too, but Rashee Rice definitely comes to mind when I was watching his tape for sure.
Yeah, I agree. We had seen Jamar Chase a lot. Here's some of the article, though. I thought it was kind of interesting. His game is very similar to Rashee's. Director of Player Personnel Ryan Nutt said after the Chiefs drafted Royals in April in the fourth round, he's got big hands, strong hands, and he's very good after the catch. He then says, run after the catch is a big part of our offense. That's something we look for in our receivers. We look for speed. The kid had 4.4 40-yard dash at the scouting combine, which I just said. We look for strength, and he has that. Then we look for route running, and that's probably an area where Rashee had to kind of develop a little bit. So we kind of thought they were similar in that respect. Steve, we had said that about Jalen Royals. We thought his route tree at Utah State was a little vanilla, but that's what the offense required. He's got to pick that up, and I don't see any reason why he can't. He can make an impact immediately, says Greg Castillo, which is the Chiefs' Western Regional Scout. So he scouts everybody over on the western side of the United States. The run after catch ability stands out, and that he, through his 3 years at Utah State, he could separate with short routes. He could separate with intermediate routes. He's got a ton of versatility. He goes on to say, that's the beauty about this player is the pure versatility. He can beat a guy off press coverage, or he can run right by you. When the ball is at his hands, he can run right through you. The last little thing I wanted to bring up says we watched his tape before the Senior Bowl. This guy's kind of interesting, Nutt said. Then he goes to the Senior Bowl, and we thought he did well, so he got even more on our radar. Then he goes to the Combine, runs a 4.4, and jumps 36-inch broad jump, and we're like, okay, this kid's explosive. Then you get the kind of coaches involved, and we zoom him, and we talk, and we're like, yeah, we could use this kid. And then he goes on to say, with Rashee Rice coming back from injury and trying to get right, the hopes are this kid could step in, try to get some playing time and help us out. Everything that the regional scout said about Jalen Royals, we pinpointed that throughout the entire process. There was plenty of things. And speed and quickness was never an issue. Why that became an issue on draft day specifically made zero sense.
Mike, they were talking about his foot injury. The kid still ran a 4.4. What the hell are they talking about? That doesn't make any sense. I think they're just jealous because the Chiefs got another speedster, another explosive player, and they're going to have fun with him. I mean, you put him in there with Xavier Worthy, Rashee Rice, and Hollywood Brown, and it's getting a little deadly there. It's getting deadly. Mahomes has all kinds of toys this coming season. So it's going to be fun, man. It's going to be super fun. And, Andy Reid talked about Jalen Royals being at the NFL PA Rookie Premiere. Just a little tidbit here, but he said you can see Jalen's talent for sure. He did a couple of good things yesterday. We'll just see how he does today. We load them up again today, and they actually have a walkthrough, so it's very much like training camp. They have a walkthrough, and then they have the practice in the afternoon. Sometimes the second day can be a nice challenge for them with the overload part of it. So that's pretty much what Andy had to say about what he's doing at the NFLPA Rookie Premiere. So I think it's good for Jalen Royals to get out there and, represent a little bit and just start integrating into the league, man, because it's going to be a whole different ball game than Utah State, right? So, I mean, there is a giant step he's got to take, a bit of a leap, if you will, but I think he's got all the tools to do it. He's in a great place to do it. We'll just see how he develops as a receiver, man.
He's got to get acclimated. He's got to, refine his route running. But honestly, I think he has a good base to start from. He has excellent hands. I don't think his hands are ever a problem. His speed and quickness, in my opinion, is NFL caliber. There could be times where he does get matched up on guys that he will struggle to separate from. But I think that's just what early wide receivers in their career are going to face, and you got to figure out how to get away from that. Rashee Rice actually struggled with that a little bit in his first season, and then you notice that he started to be able to find separation. He started to be more comfortable in zone looks and different things. I wanted to bring this one up. This was his comparables per PFF. He had an 80.6 receiving grade. He ran 3 yards per route, which is about how many, off the line of scrimmage he runs on average. Which you would say 3 is very short, but if you go look at any wide receiver, they're all going to be about the same number. But a 5.2% drop rate, which I actually thought was a little high because he had one game that was a little uncharacteristic early in the season. 53.3% percentile in contested catch rate. And then against man coverage, he had an 80 even per PFF. If you compare this to some of the top 3, 4, 5 wide receivers, Steve, he's right there with them. I think maybe his contested catch rate has to come up a little higher than a 50-50 ball. Because of the NFL, you're going to be going against better cover quarters. So with 53.3% at Utah State, you would like to see that up just a little bit higher. But I don't think that's his game. Rashee Rice's game really isn't going up and catching contested 50-50 balls. It's more or less getting them in positions with plays or with looks and getting them a slot, get them the ball quick, get them in the middle of the field, let them eat after the catch. And I think that's what Jalen Royals is going to be able to do.
Well, it's how they adapt, right? Because I think Rashee Rice in college was definitely a guy that relied on the 50-50 ball, the contested catches, just out jumping people, doing things like that. And going into the league, he kind of took on a whole new persona, and it worked for him. He's been freaking killing it before Mahomes injured him this year, he was actually one of the best receivers in the league. It was insane to watch. I know everybody in our fantasy league was pretty hyped about Rashee Rice last year because he was just going, and then all of a sudden Mahomes takes his knee out. But it's going to be a thing with the knee, right? Is he going to be back for the first game of the season? Some people are wondering about that. I think he will be. To me, I don't see him being out any longer than that. And then the suspension thing comes into play, of course, with the hit and run incident with Rashee Rice. But either way, if he were to miss some time, which I think is kind of doubtful, I kind of think he'll just be there. But Jalen Royals is going to get some playing time if that happens, right? He's going to get to jump in, get his feet wet pretty quick. And I think they'll utilize him the same way they did Rashee Rice. Just quick slants, let him do work after he's got the ball in his hand, like you said.
Yeah, look, we're coming up on OTAs here in May 27th through 29th. Then we got a session on June 2nd through 4th, and then one on June 10th through 13th. So here in about a week, you're going to see all the veterans get back with all the young guys. So basically, we just see the young guys, the UDFAs, all these small contract bodies out there to throw them the balls and different things. We're going to get to see a little bit more of, I don't think I want to say this. I don't think Rashee Rice is going to be doing any OTA activities. I think it's a little too early to see him out there doing stuff like that.
Right.
So you won't see it. So what you may see, though, is how they plan on early using Jalen Royals, how they plan to utilize him early. Does he have what it takes to come in right away and be given the responsibility of what Rashee Rice is going to do? Or do you think that's going to go more towards Juju and it's going to be like a rotation kind of thing, and hopefully Royals can surpass Juju at some point? And then to go back to your point, going to the season, in my opinion, right now we're in a much better position because last year we were like, hey, if Rashee Rice gets suspended, we're in trouble. We're this, we're that. We don't know if Hollywood's going to be back. We don't have a replacement here. We're relying on Sky Moore. We're looking at Nico Remigio. Our wide receiver room is in a lot better position right now. Even if Rashee Rice misses time, they're in a much better position as long as Marquise Hollywood Brown can stay healthy and you don't have to rely on so many young guys again.
Well, that's a big if with Hollywood Brown, right? I mean, he literally was hurt on his first play ever as a Chief.
Kind of a fluke play.
His durability, I guess, shouldn't be, overlooked. He's been injured a lot in his career, but I think he'll be okay. I highly doubt we'll see another fluky play at the beginning of the season. But even if he does go down, at least you have Jalen Royals, right? Now you have more to work with. Like you mentioned, Juju, I think Juju's going to get a fair share of snaps. He always does. He outsnapped freaking DeAndre Hopkins at the end of last year, which is pretty crazy. But at the same time, I don't think that he'll be a focal point in the offense. I think we saw one game last year where Juju went for over 100 yards receiving and Patrick Mahomes kept going back to him. But for the most part, Juju's pretty quiet. He'll just get you that first down every now and then or something like that. I think if Rashee Rice were to go out for suspension, which, let's be honest here, if he does get suspended, I don't think it's for more than 3-4 games. I don't think it's going to be anything crazy. A lot of people think he's going to be suspended for half the season and they're going to make an example out of him and this and that. Man, I mean, if there was an example made out of Henry Ruggs by spending half his life in prison, I don't know what will work. So I don't think the league's going to throw this at the wall and see if it sticks. So
I don't think the league's in the mindset that they have to be the trendsetter going forward on this. Like like you just said, if Henry Ruggs going to prison for racing cars and then every year you've got these same guys doing it. You even had the kid from Georgia that got drafted, the big defensive tackle to the Eagles that did the same thing and killed somebody and just basically walked. So it's like there's no rhyme or reason to how they do this stuff. I'm with you. I don't think the league's going to try to set a precedent on this. I don't. I see 2 to 4 games max. And honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if they don't do anything and the whole league implodes with sadness.
Wouldn't doubt it. But if he does go out for any period of time, I think we're okay with Royals. I do think he's ready to step in, and I think he is a good enough athlete, good enough receiver. I think he's got a good head on his shoulders. I think he'll step up to the challenge. And I don't know if, we'll see a big drop off there, to be quite honest. I'm not saying that he's as good as what Rashee Rice was at the beginning of last season already, because that's wild. But I do think that he has a similar skill set, and I think that he can be utilized to do a lot of the same things they were doing. So,
do you think the Chiefs drafted Jalen Royals only for the sheer fact that they thought he was a Rashee Rice? I don't either, because in my opinion, I think he's more maybe a Juju kind of a long-term, kind of like that rotational guy that you could put in, because Rashee Rice is under contract for what, 2 more years? And then I'm sure they're going to try to work something out with him.
Well, I say he has a similar skill set to Rashee Rice, but he is not just Rashee Rice. That's not what Jalen Royals is. He's his own person. He's his own receiver. And there are flashes of people up to a Jamar Chase, and people kind of ran with that this offseason. But you really do see a little bit of that in his game. He's got a lot going on there. He's got a very high ceiling. And to me, I think his floor is pretty low. I think he's going to be decent no matter what. So he could really pop off. We'll just have to see. Chief DeLorean with the 5-bomb says, I'm still worried about the left side of the O-line. Moore and Kingsley have limited starting experience, and we got a rookie coming back from an injury. I think that's fair, Chief DeLorean. I think the left side of the offensive line is going to be something everyone has their eye on at the beginning of the season, probably throughout the season. The thing about it is, I think Jalen Moore, he did get limited starting, sure, but he did start for a big stretch of last year, and he was pretty good. I think he did well, and I think that either one of them, even if Josh Simmons were to be able to come back off the injury a little quicker than people think and win that position and actually start, I think either way you're looking at an upgrade from last season. You're looking at an upgrade from the year we had Donovan Smith at left tackle. So I'm okay with that. Now, you do have Joe Tooney, who's gone. Shout out Joe Tooney. He just signed a big-ass contract with the Bears, so shout out to him. But without Joe Tooney, I think your offensive line automatically takes a step back. So no matter how much you throw out there and how many people you add to it, I think you still lose a little bit by losing Joe Tooney. Because, he's an all-pro, Pro Bowler, just one of the best to do it. But I do think that guard position, I think we can fill it. I think if it's not Kingsley, if it's not Wanye, I think we have some players on the team that can do it. Caliendo, everybody gave him shit last season, but to be honest, he wasn't that bad. He had a little bit of trouble in the pass protection, but I don't think that's anything that he doesn't learn and get better at. Caliendo's still a young guy, and Andy Reid believes in him. He has always put him in the game, and he's talking about him being a competitor to start this season. So I'm not super, super worried about it. I think that it's going to be pretty similar to last season. Hopefully not a drop off at all. That'd be great.
I say this with a hope, but I don't see how it could be any worse than last season. Come on, you've seen what Kingsley and Wanye gave us at left tackle. It wasn't much. It was pretty much a road bump, a speed bump to get to the quarterback. It wasn't much. So I don't think Jalen Moore or Josh Simmons is going to be any worse by any means. Again, you're going to downgrade with Tooney being out of left guard, but Tooney had to slide over to left tackle too, so you kind of seen what it looked like there as well. I don't think there's any way that this line looks worse than last year. In my opinion, I just cannot see it. It's going to have to take a monumental meltdown for this offensive line to look worse than it did last year. And so with that being said, what can you really do going forward? You can't do anything. This is who we got. It's on our coaches to coach them up. I'm choosing not to worry about it. I get that it's a concern, but at this point, what can you do? If it's the biggest concern in the world, it's not like we're making a trade for a top tier left tackle, or we're just going to pull out a left guard out of our butt somewhere. So.
Right. Well, this is also on the coaching staff to an extent of play calling. I'm sorry, but if you end up having a problem at the left side of your line, you're just going to have to accept the fact that Patrick Mahomes can't run around for 10 seconds and throw the ball 90 yards down the field. You're just going to have to accept
adapt to it.
You have all the players in the world to be able to adapt to that and still kick ass. You got speed. I don't know if there's any other receiving core in the league that even matches ours on speed. I don't think so. I mean, you're looking at 2-4-2 guys with Hollywood and Xavier Worthy, and then we're talking about 4-4 guy with Jalen Royals. Now Rashee Rice, he might be a 4-5 guy, but he doesn't look like it. So I mean, there's a lot of speed in our wide receiver core, and then I'm hoping Kelsey bounces back, man. I'm hoping Kelsey has a much better year this year.
Yeah, I believe our running backs add a lot of speed too. Like you've got, I mean, Pacheco. Look, he's got vision problems. That's what he's got, but he don't have a speed problem. You don't have a speed problem with the kid they just picked up from San Francisco, Elijah Mitchell. You don't have a speed problem from Brashard Smith. Carson Steele's pretty quick to be a fullback. So
right.
I don't think that I'm with you. We've got enough that it's got to be on the coaching staff at this point. Brett Veach has done all he could do. It's time for the coaches to coach the guys up. It's time for Andy Reid to put them in better positions if this is possible. And again, I don't think there's any way we can be worse than last year unless there's just a monumental meltdown here, because I think the quality of talent, the floor got higher.
Right. Yeah, I think so too, man. I'm not going to worry about it. I think I'm done worrying about the O-line, right? Like
Me too,
we've done it,
we've done it.
Right. Well, I think that what Brett Veach is doing is all you can do. Right. Load up the offensive line, do what you got to do, throw everything you can at the wall and see what sticks. That's about the only thing you can do in the position that he's in. Because what's the alternative, Mike? Let's suck ass the whole season and get a high first round pick. That's not what we
Brett
want to do.
Veach has invested more in our offensive line. He's invested more in the offensive line almost than any other position on the field in the past 5-6 drafts. Our coaching staff and our scouts are missing, or they're not developing properly. It's up to Andy Reid and our coaches to develop these guys at some point and find the best 5 and get them on the field.
Well,
That's
he's
not
drafting
Brett Veach's job.
He's drafting good athletes. He's drafting guys that are quick for linemen. They're very strong. I mean, a lot of them are what they consider freak athletes. A lot
I
of them
like
made
Andy
that
Heck,
list.
Steve, but Andy Heck's got to get it together when it comes to development. I just don't feel like he's developing very well there.
I think the talent's there. The talent's there. It's what you're going to do with it, right? I think that's what I think. I'm right there with you, man.
Steve, speaking of draft, before you go to Ray really quick, well, go ahead, read Ray. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're all good. I'm just.
You can read it.
We're good, Ray. We that was more down south, but yeah, Kentucky's getting it this year.
Yeah, we had a tornado hit
Kentucky's
Somerset.
the new tornado alley. Have you noticed that?
Pretty
it's
much,
nonstop, bro.
It shifted.
So
we've dealt with statewide flooding for the entire month of February and March, and then tornadoes.
Hey, they're talking about more floods, brother. What are you going to do if your house floods again? Are you just going to tear it down and leave?
I mean, I don't know.
At this point, what can you do?
Yeah, what can I do? I don't know. It's been a shit show for the past literal 3 months. Like I've learned that the weather in Kentucky is horrible. Do you know it has rained more in Kentucky this year by like a huge amount than it has rained in like Seattle, Washington? It rains there every day. It's rained more in Kentucky. Like Kentucky's beat it this year.
Look, been all throughout the country. Kentucky's one of the most beautiful states there are. But
the
weather
worst weather
sucks,
I've ever seen.
bro. The weather's trash.
You never know what it's going to be. It's horrible.
That's awesome. Mike, hold that thought if you still remember what you were going to say.
I do.
Because we got Peter Ortiz in the house with a freaking 20 bomb. Let's go, Peter.
Thanks, Peter. Appreciate
you, brother. Good to see you. Good to see you. Thank you for the support. Y'all throw some legendaries in the chat for Peter. But yeah, Mike, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, speaking of draft, speaking of Jalen Royals, who's been the theme of the episode today, I went back and looked at Utah State draft picks, and it's kind of funny. The Chiefs were the last wide receiver taken from Utah State. Obviously, Jalen Royals. The last wide receiver taken from Utah State was also the Chiefs back in 2008. Like, how wild is that? You got to go back to 2008. We drafted Kevin Robinson in the 6th round. Okay, if you look at this board for the last since
everybody remembers Kevin Robinson, right?
From 25, okay, from 2025 back to 2016, the only teams that's even drafted a player from Utah State has been the Chiefs and the Packers. Of course, Jordan Love, right? But we drafted Darwin Thompson.
I forgot about old Darwin Thompson being at Utah State.
Right. So Utah State's pipeline is the Chiefs and the Packers, it looks like. And especially wide receivers from Utah State is a pipeline to the Chiefs, apparently.
And then Bobby Wagner. Wasn't he from Utah State, too?
Yeah, he's on the list. He was drafted by Seattle in 2012.
If you asked me one player, that was the only one I would really know.
right there.
That's the only one I would know off the top of my head would be Bobby Wagner. But yeah, I forgot about Darwin Thompson.
I didn't not even remember Kevin Robinson, to be honest. 2008, that's almost 20 years ago. It's like 17 years ago. The Chiefs were going through it then. So I'm going to say Kevin Robinson was probably horrible. Probably didn't even get a catch.
Yeah. Chief Broken Arrow says, going to the week 2 game, the Super Bowl rematch, taking my 3 grandsons to their first trip to the Holy Land. Isn't September yet. That's freaking awesome, man. Hope y'all have a good time. Hopefully the Chiefs lay the smack down there. I feel like there's a lot on the line in that game, more than you think. Like, it really doesn't matter in the big scheme of things. It doesn't. It's a regular season game. It's week 2. It's whatever. But I feel like, just for self-respect purposes, I feel like you have to go out and beat that ass, right? I mean,
doesn't it fall to more to like the psyche of the team?
Yeah, dude.
Like,
you can't
get
take
your
a beating like
handed
that
to you in the Super Bowl, and then you lose your home opener versus the same team.
Yeah.
I feel like they need to win that game. I feel like it's almost a must-win in week 2 for the Chiefs.
I feel like if they don't come out very intense and try to win that game, that you have to start questioning where's this team's mental state.
Yeah, but you're going to get people to say, oh, they're just playing to get to the playoffs. They're hiding their plays. They're not going to run they're not going to run a single play but a halfback toss till December 28th.
I get it. At some point, though, you have to have a little bit of pride. And I mean, come on, dude.
I always found that to be crazy. That people say the Chiefs don't play call to win. Andy Reid don't open up his playbook.
Mike, that is the most absurd shit I've ever heard. I hate
Steve, the funny thing is literally last year at like, I want to say the Panthers game, which is like 8-9 weeks into the season, the Chiefs led the league in trick plays.
Right.
But yet we're not opening up our playbook.
Can you imagine that conversation? What if Andy Reid missed the playoffs or didn't win the AFC West, and they had to have the conversation with Brett Veach, and he's like, well, I was trying to hide all my plays for the playoffs, man.
He said Brett Veach is like, you only rotated 14 plays the entire year.
I had the secret playbook, man, but we didn't even make it. Yeah, no, it's so stupid.
That makes Andy feel dumb because I feel like Andy's so smart. He can go to the playoffs. He can design an entire playbook in a week.
That's what he does. That's exactly what he does. Yeah, Greg Goodwin with a freaking 10 bomb. What's up, Greg? He says Kansas City Royals. What a steal. You guys rock. Man, people are going to have a lot of fun with that jersey, brother. That's going to be a nice jersey to acquire. The number 11, the Royals. It's going to be nice. Yeah. I think it's going to be fun. You think it could be one of the top selling jerseys of all time? I said that in a short, that it has potential. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it could. It's never going to beat Mahomes and Kelsey. They're just too popular. But I do think that it could be a top 5, top 10 jersey for the Chiefs selling this year.
If he ends up being as good as people hope he can be, let's just say he ends up being like, not Tyreek Hill because he doesn't play like him, but what if he ends up with some stats similar to that? Like where he's one of the, the best Chiefs receivers of all time. I think that jersey goes nuts, right? It has to.
Probably.
Shout out Greg with a 10 bomb, though. Y'all show him some love in the chat. Appreciate you, brother. Thanks for the support. But yeah. Brad, the Chiefs pulled off getting Jalen Royals in the freaking 4th round, which is nuts. Another weapon. So if you guys are just rolling in, appreciate you. We're talking a little bit about Jalen Royals. Probably, I mean, here's the thing, man. If Jalen Royals were to pan out and give the Chiefs another offensive spark, another Rashee Rice option, or anything even close to that, I mean, this offense, talk about trying to get the offense back to having more firepower and to quit being so boring. And then a lot of people thought it was because the running back position. And I don't think that's necessarily it. I do think Isaiah Pacheco is good enough to do so. I mean, he won a damn ring with us. The kid can play. And he's not slow. He's fast. He does look like he's running in quicksand sometimes, but he runs a 4.3. So, I mean, he's not slow. But Brashard Smith brings like a whole dynamic to that running back.
Steve, one of your knocks yesterday I kept seeing, because you did release a video about Brashard Smith. If you haven't watched that, go watch it. A lot of people in the comments were very upset that you mentioned that Isaiah Pacheco didn't have home run speed. I kept seeing that.
him and Kareem Hunt don't give you that home run ability. I don't think so. And you can tell, look, man, Isaiah Pacheco's been in this league for what, 3 years now? He's going on his 4th season. There's probably one run on his entire highlight tape that was 40 plus.
Is it the Jets?
Yeah, dude, I'm
Maybe.
sorry. I don't care how fast he is. He just doesn't have that home run
Vision.
ability.
It's vision.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the vision to find.
Right. So I mean, if you wanna start cherry picking, then I don't care. People can say whatever they want in the comments.
There was one other point. Oh, the other point was you can't compare Brashard Smith to Alvin Kamara strictly because he's 17 pounds less. He weighs 17 pounds less. Like, why is the comparison to people's game
Look, man,
relevant to just their height and weight?
He plays a lot like him. He's a converted wide receiver. He has the same skill set.
Yeah, you're looking at skill set here, not the weight factor.
Bro, he's going to have to gain 17 pounds.
It would have been different if you would have said, this dude plays like Mike Allstott. There, you could have been like, okay, well, that's a big animal. But a 15-pound difference between running backs, if you're telling me Brashard Smith can't be a full feature back in this league, you're out of your mind, because Andy Reid used Westbrook and Shady McCoy and all Darren Sproles.
Look, I have no qualm saying this. As 7th rounders, Isaiah Pacheco was able to do it. He was able to go in and be that guy. He took that job over. I think that Brashard Smith's a better prospect than Isaiah Pacheco was.
People are just focusing on the weight, Steve. They're just focusing on that 197 or whatever it is, 190. People are very hyper-focused on that.
They were also hyper-focused on Xavier Worthy's weight last year.
Yeah, and he didn't have any problems with it.
Right. So, I mean, I think some people just look too far into things. Mucho Macho asked if anyone's hearing any Rice expected punishment. Nothing. There's nothing about it. I mean, people are speculating. There's a lot of people that think he's just going to get the hammer. But we tend to think that even if he does get suspended, 4 games max.
See, we have said 4 games since the news broke 2 off seasons ago.
Right. Well, at this point, I'm sitting here like, I don't even know if they do suspend him.
Right. But you had everybody out there giving the most doom and gloom scenarios. You had Chiefs creators. Oh, he's going to be out for years. He's probably going to be in prison. No, he's not.
Isn't it wild that you can peddle that crap, but the minute that you say Patrick Mahomes didn't play that great last year, you're the doom and gloom guy? Yeah. It's like, don't state facts or anything that you're watching, but
Patrick Mahomes actually comes out and says, hey, it didn't play very well, to corroborate your theory all season, but you're still doom and gloom. When Rashee Rice comes out and says, hey, I deserve to be in prison and be suspended for 16 games, and they corroborate that one, then they will not be the doom and glooms.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say, man.
Yeah, but
it's wild out here.
Go check that video out after this. If you didn't get to watch it, go watch it. There's some good stuff in there about.
It was a good video, Steve.
Yeah, comments were fun. People were having some fun with it. I think the only other common thing that I saw was people don't like ads. And it's like,
I'm sorry.
I don't care if you like ads or not.
Yeah,
I mean, if we're going to continue to give you free content, then
Steve,
it has to come from somewhere. So just deal with it.
Look,
it makes
I can't apologize for making money at doing something that provides people a free service. I can't do it.
Right. How dare you spend this many hours on something a week and
Steve,
expect
it's not
something?
cheap. If you haven't noticed, it's not cheap out here to live. Okay, so I'm not going to apologize for getting paid.
It's not even
to show
that,
a
but
3-minute ad.
Isn't that weird? Do you think those same people scream at their TV, like when they're
a commercial
watching
comes
Hulu
on?
or something? I don't know.
Really. Netflix, Hulu shows ads now.
And that's
right?
another thing. If you hate ads that bad, there's this thing called YouTube Premium, where you can pay for it and you don't ever get an ad.
That's not true though, because we're outdoing it. We're putting our own ads in.
Well, it's deal.
Yeah, I mean that has to be. Look, if somebody's going to give me money to talk about the Chiefs, I'm going to take it. I'm sorry, because if they don't give me money to talk about the Chiefs, then we don't have a channel.
You're not going to be talking about the Chiefs.
We're just not going to be talking about the Chiefs, which I guess most people wouldn't care because we're idiots and doom and gloom.
Mike, you shut up. Let's see. Royals is going to be used a lot when Rice is out on that suspension, says TTBD or something. Yeah, if he's on a suspension, I think that he will be used. I mean, there's several different. I think that Royals could get good usage regardless. You know, I think if Hollywood's healthy, Xavier's healthy, and Rashee Rice is healthy, he don't get suspended. I still think that you see a pretty good volume to Jalen Royals. And the reason I say that is Andy Reid's kind of on an upward trend of using his rookie wide receivers. Because there for a while, that was a thing. It's like he just doesn't use them. and he didn't for the longest. But you saw that with Rashee Rice, that changed. Then, because of Rashee Rice's success, you saw that change big time with Xavier last year. I think they kind of continue that. I think it helps these guys to get them out there early and often and get them the ball. I really do. It's like this is how you get acclimated, right? Sky Moore, for instance, second round draft pick, didn't use him hardly at all. They used him in a return game, which he didn't do, and that kid never panned out, right? Like he never. It's weird. Like I feel like the few shots he did have, they were very small, and he squandered them. But they definitely didn't put him out there and give him the ball like they did Rashee Rice or one of these other guys. And you could say it's because of he's not that good or this or that. Hey, the skill set coming out of college was no different than these other guys. Like, if nothing, it could honestly have been more expected of him because he was the top receiver in the entire FBS. So I don't know. I think Andy's kind of learned with that. It's like, hey, let's not let them rot on the sideline. Let's not underutilize them. Let's get them acclimated to the game and let them flourish, you know?
Yeah. Look, it's never too early to start talking a little bit about depth chart and what we think will happen. Steve, the Chiefs last season, on their 53-man roster, they ended up cutting lots of players, this and that. But they ended up taking 7 wide receivers again, which was another big number after they took, I believe, 7 the year before maybe, or it was 6. It was a lot. It was more than we're used to Andy taking. The Chiefs have 13 wide receivers on their roster right now. 13. Do you think there's any way possible they take less than 7 again this year, or is 7 just going to be the magic number going forward?
I don't know. Honestly, I think that the way this offense runs, and then you have to account for injuries that happen almost every year, I think 7 is where it's at. I think they've realized they need to
let's
stick
talk
around
about
7.
this for a second. 7 is where it's at. Let's call 7. Let's call it 7 as it sits. But again, they took 7 last year, and they only took 2 running backs. They took Pacheco and Clyde. Of course, they took Carson Steele as a fullback, so we'll count it as 3 backs. Do you think they take 3 backs again this year? Because I feel like the backs this year, they're going to take 4. I think Elijah Mitchell, a lot of people are saying Elijah Mitchell isn't guaranteed a spot. I find it hard to believe that they're not going to guarantee a spot to Elijah Mitchell with his change of pace and his skill set.
As long as he's healthy.
As long as he's healthy, I find it really hard to believe he's not going to make the team.
That's been the only knock on Elijah Mitchell in his career, right? I think the skill set's there. The production.
So they're taking 5 then, correct?
4.
You would take Pacheco, Kareem Hunt, Elijah Mitchell, Brashard Smith, and now you got to take Carson Steele. You think
they're
Carson
not going to
Steele
take I think Carson
he's the
Steele,
fullback. Are they not going to a fullback again?
No, they've proved that they're not going to do that, and I think Carson still ends up on the practice squad.
So Carson Steele signs the big thing, plays an entire season, and then goes back to the practice squad.
Honestly,
it just feels weird.
It does feel weird, and I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, I don't see them actually using him hardly any. They didn't towards the end of last year. He kind of just disappeared. It's like, I don't know if they were worried about the ball security or what, or if he just doesn't really fit the mold of what they want to use, which is fair because they never want the bigger backs. They don't want the workhorse backs. They don't want the tall wide receivers. When they have a prototype of a player, they have a prototype and they don't stray from it.
I think it's possible that they take 4 backs and Carson Steele. That's wild, but I feel like it's possible. Or Brashard Smith ends up on the practice squad to start the season. It just depends. It's a lot to put on a 7th round pick to come in, make the team, make everything.
He's not going to be on the practice squad.
But anyways, the point I want to get to is how many they'll take, this or that. So other positions can dictate it, but we'll say 7 for wide receivers. Who's your 7 wide receivers that you're going to take here, Steve? Who would the Chiefs take right now? We know that Worthy, Hollywood Brown, Rashee Rice, and Jalen Royals is probably a lock at this point.
Yeah, of course.
So we'll say that's 4. Is Juju a lock, or is Juju a guy that could get to camp and be beaten?
No, that's not possible. Juju's a lock.
So you're giving Juju the 5th. So you've got 2 roster spots here. Who are you giving them to?
I think Nico probably keeps one of those roster spots, more than likely. And then the other one's going to be kind of a fun battle to watch, right? There's a handful of the guys there. A lot of people think Elijah Badger can make it, the UDFA. He had a lot of good tape at Florida. That kid runs a 4.3. He's pretty crazy.
I'll say Jimmy Holiday and Magdalena kind of fall out.
Yeah, I don't see those
So that
guys.
puts it between Jason Brownlee, who not too bad. He's got some good tape with the Jets.
Yeah.
Brownlee, I would say he probably falls out. Badger probably falls out. I think it's going to come down to Steve, Sky Moore, Justin Ross, Tyquan Thornton, Nico Remigio to get those last two spots.
It's the same song and dance, right?
It's
as much as
every
people
time.
hate Sky Moore, it's always a possibility he's going to make the roster, whether they use him or
Is this the year
not.
though that he doesn't get it?
It could be. It could be. It really could be. Now, as far as Nico, though, I think Nico does retain his spot. I think he was very good in special teams last year. Pretty good spark, to be
I
quite
would like
honest.
to see him play a little bit of wide receiver as well. I think he's got
Me too.
potential to give us some snaps there.
Me too. And then you mentioned Justin Ross. I don't know. I think that's probably done. At this point, it's just like people with like Sky Moore and Justin Ross. Is it just me, or at this point, are you almost wasting their career that they could be going somewhere else and trying to do something?
People said this about Justin Ross for 2 straight seasons now,
Like,
that the Chiefs aren't giving him enough.
I think that both of those guys could potentially not. They're nothing groundbreaking, neither of them. But I think they could potentially go somewhere else, be in a different type of offense, and actually be utilized somewhat. As far as just being, at the bottom of the depth chart and never seeing the field. So I don't know, man. I think it's interesting. Like, I would not be opposed to seeing something completely different. I wouldn't be opposed to seeing Sky Moore gone, Justin Ross gone, and them giving Badger a chance. I wouldn't be opposed to that. But I think that it's like a position that those guys are going to have to earn. They're going to, if they want it, they're going to have to take it. And so, I mean, if you see someone like Badger get out there and really show out in camp, and with his abilities running a 4.3, I mean, he put up 1,000 yards, maybe something like that with Florida. It was the most 100-yard games of anybody. I think that you never know, man. It could be a little bit different because we're so like, I feel like the floor of our wide receiver room has raised, and the ceiling as well. I feel like that whole room has just gone up. So I feel like it could be a little bit different this year on the bottom end.
So this one kind of slipped under my radar a little bit. The Chiefs actually had give a 3-year contract to a running back out of Western named Elijah Young. Like, I don't know why that slipped through. I guess because I was going through a flood. But yeah, they've got Elijah Young on the roster right now too. They signed him to 3 years out of Western. Didn't they signed another kid too, right? That played at a smaller school, Stephen F. Austin.
Yeah, Quaylen Jones. No.
Yeah,
yeah.
I think that was it.
That's him. He used to play at Baylor.
So they've actually got what? They don't have him listed on our lads right now, Quaylon, but they've got 5 listed. That would be 6. I'm not expecting Quaylon and maybe Elijah Young. I'm telling you, man, we're getting to some weird territory with this because we're starting to put up a lot of playmakers that the Chiefs really like. So you start to think this. The Chiefs took 4 tight ends last year. Is it possible this year they downgraded to 3? Because they took Peyton Hendershot last year. Is it possible they don't go ahead and take Brenningstool and just leave it at 3 and let it be Kelsey Gray and Wiley? Like, is it possible they don't take 10 offensive linemen?
I think
last year they took
any of it's
CJ
possible.
Hansen and Ethan Driscoll.
Any of it's possible. So you're just going to have to wait and see who's like earning the spots, right? Because I think they're okay with just 3 tight ends, but they'll take 4 if they need to. If 4 of the tight ends are the best 53, then I think they go
I just
4.
find it wild that they took Peyton Hendershot. He counted as one of our 53 men. Peyton Hendershot, he was in and out of the lineup all year. If you go to offensive line, they actually took Hunter Norzad, Ethan Driscoll, and CJ Hansen. All 3 of those guys ended up being on the practice squad for 99% of the season. If you go to defense, you had players like Cam Thomas. They put him on at defensive end and made him the 5th defensive end. That kid didn't even play a snap all season.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then corners, they let Nick Jones make the roster. And then Nick Jones ended up falling off to the practice squad. He ended up getting cut within a week or 2 after the draft or the 53-man come out. So I find it weird. There's a lot of players last year that if you look, it's not even going to be it's not even going to be a chance they're making the team. Like, you're not having Nick Jones on this team this year. Cam Thomas is not there. Derek Noddy, is he going to be on the team this year? I find
he's gone already.
Exactly. So there's another one right there. And so Peyton Hendershot's not going to be on the team this year. Mecole Hardman's not on the team this year. Clyde's
They
not.
don't need to be. That's the thing, man.
So you've technically got 7 open spots this year. If they took everybody they took last year,
Bro.
you'd have 7 available.
So here's the thing. If they can shore up the offensive line, if they can figure out the offensive line mystery, if for some reason Josh Simmons gets in there or Jalen Moore hits and then Kingsley or whoever they go with at left guard steps up to the plate and actually does the job and the offensive line is okay, I think that this Chiefs roster, it's kind of from the last few years, it's kind of just from attrition, got them to where they want to be. Like, I feel like there are so many good athletes on this freaking team that it's like they've just kind of fallen. People like Sky Moore and Justin Ross, for instance, they have phased themselves out of what the Chiefs want to do.
Right. I don't see
The Chiefs
how these two make the roster this year.
The athletic level of every position has gone way, way up. I feel like if they can shore up the offensive line, if they could hit at left tackle and at left guard to where this offensive line plays well, this could be easily one of the better eras and better teams of the Patrick Mahomes era. Like this could be a team where if they can protect him, the defense is looking good. The defense is improving. The defense has been one of the best defenses in football for the last 3 years. If they can get this offense humming along, which I think starts with the protection, right? That's what everybody's saying, right? So
yeah,
they could go nuts. They could go crazy. He's got more wide receiver talent than almost anybody. I mean, you could argue a couple of teams like the Bengals who spent their entire life savings on receivers for no damn reason. But, I mean, honestly, just across the board, like the speed and the athleticism, if they can get a run, like, Pacheco is playing well. He's on a contract year. Kareem Hunt is going to have a whole offseason under his belt now, not just coming off the couch. Brashard Smith shows promise. If they get his offense going, bro, this could be one of the better Chiefs teams. A lot of people want to count the Chiefs out after the Super Bowl with just blindly. They're not even paying attention. It's like this team is getting better and better and better.
No, I think it's obvious. People say that the Chiefs are like in the down trend and it's over. I don't think you understand what's happening here because I believe Brett Veach, I want to feel like, do you remember the first year where he come out and we won the Super Bowl after we were supposed to have a rebuild? He said this is what a rebuild year looks like. Honestly, to me, last year's team felt like more of a rebuild than any team we've had. We go 15-2. And we get to the Super Bowl. And yes, we got blown out in the Super Bowl. But again, and I'm not taking nothing away from the Eagles. They were a good team. But the Eagles were not as good as they looked versus us. It was not that big of a disparity. It just was not. It was a perfect storm. It was a perfect storm. And it was just momentum. That's all that did it, momentum.
Yeah.
I've seen good teams get blown out like that before because of momentum. And that's all it was. We couldn't stop the bleeding.
Look, man, I mean, the Eagles were a great team. Don't get me wrong. I'm not taking that away from them, but you're exactly right.
I would come more saying that
that
Chiefs,
was an outlier game.
If you told me the Chiefs and the Eagles, one is going to get to the Super Bowl and the other one's not, I will say the Chiefs will get back before the Eagles do.
Same. Totally agree.
And that's not throwing shade. It's, again, I don't think the Eagles are 100% there. I think that even with Nick Sirianni, I think he's a little bit sometimes gets in his own way.
Well, and when you're trying to build a super team every year, sometimes it just doesn't pan out. They lost a lot of the guys on their defense in the offseason. So, I mean, they had to replenish it. Say Jihad Campbell doesn't turn out to be what they want him to be, or it takes him 2 or 3 years to get there. I mean, they're going to naturally take their steps back. And it's different. It's different every year, man.
What if Saquon Barkley comes out this year and does Saquon Barkley and gets himself injured or something? He's been known to do that a few times.
Right. So they just paid him so much, dude.
They're small. Yeah, they overpay him, right?
They don't play by a salary cap though, so you don't even really have to.
The salary cap's fictional.
Yeah, it's
but the way Brett Veach does his salary cap is very wizardry, very wizard-like, shall I say?
Well, Roseman just don't care.
Yeah, Roseman's just
there's no such thing as a salary cap.
He's like, what's salary cap? We'll just put dead years on. They're going to be playing Saquon Barkley till he's 79.
Shout out Peter Ortiz. Says he's a new member, but he's been one. It's just counting you as a new one. Appreciate you, Peter. You're the man. Also, I think I hear that train rolling in, Michael. Peter Ortiz with the 5 gifted memberships. Let's go, baby. Thanks for the support, Peter. If you guys get one of those memberships, make sure to thank him in the chat. Let's go. Show him some love. Put some legendaries in the chat. With your new membership, you can go to the emojis and put legendary in the chat for Peter. How about that? Let's go.
Oh, Mucho Macho says the no tush push after tomorrow is not good.
Oh yeah, they're getting ready to ban that bad boy. I can't wait.
Dude, if they ban that, I'm gonna laugh.
I
love it.
I actually read an article where a lot of the insiders in the NFL and everything think that the league as owners are 50-50 on it. They think that they're 16 and 16. They have to get to 24, but they said if they were betting, if it was Vegas odds, it's getting banned. So I'm excited. I hope it.
Who doesn't want to go ahead and ban it? Like, do you feel like if you're on the side of we're not going to ban this, do you feel like you're just trying to be like a football, like what's it called? Like you're just wanting to come off as like you don't want to be like we're just going to attack the Eagles because they won a Super Bowl.
I think the people that don't want to ban it are the people that try to do it. So I think the Eagles there, you got Buffalo and a couple other teams that try to do it, and they're the ones that are like, no, let's not do that.
But I feel like Andy Reid, he doesn't even run a quarterback sneak, but I feel like he would be one of the guys that are like, hey, it's just a football play, we'll let it happen. No. Like he needs to ban it.
It doesn't matter what Andy thinks. It's all about Clark, baby, and he's going to ban that bad boy.
Clark
banned.
Just to piss off the Eagles.
Clark's actually, he's not just going to vote. He's going to give a speech. He's going to be like, guys, if you want to watch rugby, go watch rugby. But this is football. And these guys, this is dumb. This is dumb. We got to stop it. It's for player safety that we stop this madness.
I think it's player safety. We watched Chris Jones get injured, and they tried to tell us not a single player got injured on a tush push.
Right.
That's a lie. We watched it happen.
JCP letting the boy watch, being a member. Appreciate you, brother. And then a 5-bomb says, are there any rumblings of UDFAs that are showing out at camp? Let the boy watch, baby. Go Chefs. Well, I think that as far as camp, we haven't got underway yet, but the rookie mini camp, I think the guys that kind of got talked about the most was Jake Brenningstool, the tight end. He made some really good downfield catches and showed his skill set. And then Brashard Smith, people are super excited about him. He was catching the ball like a madman out of the backfield. And then if anybody else was talked about, it was Elijah Badger. So those are the main ones that people are talking about right now.
Offensively, there were some defensive players that looked pretty good. I think
defensively, I'm excited about Izzard as a UDFA.
People they thought that Melvin Smith Jr. looked okay, and then also the Chiefs ended up signing based off of how they performed Major Williams, who was a safety. So they put him on the roster out of a small school. And then I heard that Jacoby Covington actually looked like he was a little bit of a ball hawk. So you had a couple safeties show up, which you see this all the time because Chris Rowland Wallace come out of nowhere last year to be that he was kind of like a safety corner hybrid. And then he come out of nowhere and made the team. So I feel like maybe one of those things like safeties. Is it easier, in your opinion, Steve, for a safety to come out and look like more of a ball hawk and a guy that could just go do it? Because the plays are always in front of you, and if any offensive player makes a mistake, you're just kind of the center fielder that gets to clean it up.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I
feel like that's why they look so good so early.
Yeah, could be. Appreciate the 5-bomb, JCP. Bezoza says, wouldn't it be better to see Spags figure out how to beat the tush push and shut it down than it would be to give the Eagles the infamy of coming up with a play that the NFL had to ban? Yes, but it's impossible. You can't stop it. It's physics. You just can't. The way they run that play, and you've heard it straight from the horse's mouth. It is unstoppable.
Do you want to know why it's unstoppable in a way, Steve? Because football's a game of inches, right? We all know this. It's a game of inches. They do it all the time. But like you said, you got momentum. It's the way it's blocked. But
right,
also,
the guys are just
offense
falling.
knows the snap count. So if they get a slight jump on you, they're beating you.
Of course. And like I said, the offensive linemen, if you watch what the Eagles do, and the reason why the Bills kind of suck at it, they don't do it. But the offensive linemen literally fall down. Like they literally take the ankles out of the people in front of them. I'm surprised that there's not been more people hurt with that play.
They wedge. Steve, I think the only way you could say it was fair, and this is never going to happen, and this is probably why you have to ban it. The only way it would actually be a fair play is if you alerted that you are going to run it, because the Eagles have actually lined up and then run fakes out of it.
Yeah.
They've ran tosses. They've ran passes. You name it. It's almost impossible because you got to defend it with all 11 players. You got to crash. It's just a car wreck. But the point is, the only way you could do it is you would have to alert that you are running it and you have to run it. And the only way you could do it is that it has to be ran on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3, run it. Because if you get a snap count,
stupid, yeah,
and you don't know it, the offense is firing off the ball, and you cannot stop that. You cannot stop it. And a lot of people will say, well, that's every play. The offense has a big advantage every play. But when you're only picking up this with a bunch of just chaos, I don't like it. To me, it's not a football play. It's a rugby play.
Yeah, 100%.
It's not a football play.
I mean, when you're pushing someone in the back like that, like the way it's designed, and then, like I said, the offensive linemen literally just take a dive at everyone's ankles. I mean, they're literally falling forward, wedging, and by physics, there's no way that you don't get an inch. It's just impossible.
Yeah, you're getting 2 or 3 players pushing in the back too.
Exactly.
And I thought they were trying to outlaw that. That you couldn't push a player forward.
It's a very stupid play, I think. I think it's dumb.
I don't even think it's a play. Let's just call it what it is. It was a gimmick, and it's going to get snuffed out.
JCP with the 3 says, are we concerned at left guard at all? We talked about this a little bit earlier, JCP, but I mean, yeah, I think there's some concern there with the left side of the offensive line. There has to be. Anytime you lose someone to the caliber of Joe Tooney, I think you worry a little bit, especially when the guys that are going to be taking the spot are improving. The only one that's even proven a little bit is Caliendo, and everyone hates him. So, I mean, they're going to worry about that. But I think that guard's a little bit different than getting out on an island playing left tackle, right? I think we saw that last season. And I think that Kingsley or Wanye or any of those guys could probably do the job. So I'm excited to see how it works out. And then, Mike, you even mentioned, like, they have Jalen Moore, they have Josh Simmons. If Josh Simmons were to be healthy enough to go into camp and win that position at left tackle, I mean, that leaves Jalen Moore on the table too. I mean, you have different possibilities of rotating guys and making it work.
It gets to a point, though, where like a Jalen Moore, does he feel too big to slide inside to a guard, or vice versa, Josh Simmons? Like,
to me,
is there to a point where you're too big, too tall, and you start losing leverage in there?
To me, I think so, but yeah, you saw Mekhi Becton
do it.
Yeah.
That's a monster.
I think it's possible.
Man.
Yeah, for sure. Ray said the Chiefs are going to cook this season. Hell yeah, they are. Mahomes have an MVP season. Mark it down in your little books. Justin says, Rashee got me $2,000 last year. I'm always put my money on 4. He's a problem. Yeah, dude. I think a couple of these receivers could be a problem. It's going to be fun to watch it, dude. Michael says that cornerback from Southern Arkansas, UDFA, was signed, talking about Melvin Smith Jr., the Mule Rider, baby. He's the first, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think I read this, so if I'm wrong, don't yell at me.
The first Mule Rider.
I think he's the first Division II guy to sign an NFL contract. I think.
What?
Yeah, I think so. I think I read that or something like that.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, what did you just say? The first Division II player to ever sign an NFL contract?
I think that's what I read. Hold on.
That is 1,000% not real.
I got to find it.
There is no way that's real. You're telling me there's never been a Division II player to ever play the NFL. That is the most insane thing I've ever heard.
Let me find it.
Maybe from the Mule Riders, but there is no way.
Hey, bro, hold on, bro.
There is no way.
Give me a second. I read an article yesterday. I don't remember what it was. My brain.
JCP with 2 says, "How's the flooding situation going, Mikey? You good?" The flooding's over. They're saying there may be more. Let's hope not. But we dodged the flood. Well, we didn't dodge the flood. We got 3.5 feet of water. We stayed in an Airbnb for 4 weeks. I had to live in one of those RVs that you go traveling with. Somebody donated us an RV so I could live in that for about a week and a half till I could get my bedroom done and this room here, this glorious room done. I painted the walls. I did all the drywall, put down new floors, put up new doors, put up everything. I'm like a freaking Bob Vila in here, okay? I'm like Tim the Toolman Taylor. Okay? That's what's happening.
Did you get out your Benford 2000 to fix your walls?
I got a sponsorship from Benford Tools. But yeah, we've got 2 rooms done. There's another bedroom done. The living room's coming along. It just did all the drywall, all the stuff there. So all it's got to do is be floors and painted, get new furniture moved in because all that got ruined. And then the kitchen's next. Got to get new cabinets, new walls, painting that, and then the bathroom, and then it's done. I mean, it is what it is. It's a slow process. But then we get a tornado we're having to dodge every other day now. So it's like, is it never going to end? Kentucky is just a crap show over here right now. Like, spring in Kentucky sucks, Steve. It's become one of those things where it's just horrible.
Yeah.
I need a second home to where I can just leave. during the spring, from like
Like
March to like
people
June.
that say they liked the season of spring, they mind boggle me a little bit. It's one of the worst.
It sucks. It's cold
Yeah.
at night. It's hot during the day. It rains every minute.
It's sticky
It's
and
horrible.
muggy. Yeah, there's nothing good about it. That's
It's
wild.
horrible.
That's wild. Well, either way, whatever it was I read about Melvin Smith, it's a huge jump going from D2 to the NFL. So props to him. I think he when I watched his tape, Mike, I had a lot of fun watching his tape. He was super fast, and he was a little undersized, but he was still scrappy. He would still get in, do the things he needed to do. I knew the Chiefs were high on him. That was one of them. I had him drafting him in the 7th round, and they signed him as the UDFA. So
Bezosa,
cool.
Steve says that he was the first one from the
Maybe that's what I
draft
read.
side.
Maybe that's what I read. I don't
That
know.
makes more sense. That makes more sense. The fact that a Division II player never played in the NFL would have seemed very mind-boggling.
Shit. How many D2 players are there? in the
Didn't
league
Turk
right now?
Wharton play
Let's-
D2?
I don't know, Mike. Let's do this. Let's go find out how many D2 players are in the NFL. Let's see what it says. Come on, AI. Let's do your thing. Okay. But still, it's a very small number. In the 2024 NFL season, there were only 43 D2 football players in the entire NFL.
Yeah. Steve, Missouri S&T. That's where Turk Wharton went. That was D2.
Okay.
So, I mean, Turk Wharton. So the Chiefs are just out here throwing out some D2 contracts. That's what we've learned.
Man, you guys really hate Mike Caliendo. I feel like for a guy that had to step in from a UDFA to starting at left guard in the position he did, I think he did an admirable job.
Yeah, I think Caliendo, is he felt to be one of those Chiefs that people just going to hate for no
Yes,
reason? until
he's a
gone?
scapegoat, right?
It's the scapegoat kind of guy.
Yeah. I mean, I think Caliendo's done some good things for sure. Now, could we have had a better left guard? Absolutely. But we didn't.
I think for what he was asked to do, him and Tootie did an exceptional job. And if it wouldn't have been for those two, we wouldn't have been where we were.
You wouldn't even have been in the Super Bowl.
No.
That's the crazy
I thought they
part.
both did a pretty good job, to be honest. There was nitpicky things here and there, but it's like, come on.
Look,
Can't
bro,
have Pro Bowlers
and that's
across the
another
board.
thing. That's another thing. If Andy Reid didn't have faith in the two, then why the hell did he decide we're not going to run the ball? We're good enough to stop the best defensive line in football with them knowing that we're not going to run the ball. Like Andy had that confidence, right?
Yeah, what was he doing?
So
That was the worst confidence I've ever heard, Andy.
That is the worst game plan I've ever seen from any coach in the history of sports. And,
You know what?
it
Here's
just
what I
happened to be
blame.
at the worst time ever.
I blame the Chiefs influencers out there that said that they couldn't run block.
Which was a
And
lie.
maybe Andy heard that. And he was like, well, they told me he can't run block, so we're going to pass the ball every play.
Dude, that narrative was so stupid.
That was the most ignorant narrative I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, and people still go with it.
Steve,
People are
what's
still talking
funny
about it.
Is they didn't even do it right. You ought to see how much they had to manipulate to get all that to work. Like you only could count weeks 11 through 14, and then you had to skip week 16, and you had to do all this stuff, and it still only averaged out to 0.7 yards less, or something like that. It was so ridiculous.
Man, oh yeah, I forgot about Josh Williams, Fayetteville State. He was D2.
Yeah. The Chiefs are just D2, baby.
Okay, never mind. Maybe he's the 100th player the Chiefs have signed from D2.
I knew that could have been right. Like, you just had to. I don't think you read it wrong. I think you're just misquoting what you read wrong.
Yeah, that's what I said. I didn't remember what it said. I knew it was something. Either way, I like Melvin Smith though. That's fun. Can I end the
says
poll?
Caliendo's just hated for not being great.
That's true.
So how many other players do we hate on this roster? 40?
All of them.
Yeah, I mean, there's only like 5 that's going to go down as being great players. I don't even know if you're going to get that at the end of it.
Julie, I'm in the poll. Calm down. It'll be all right. It'll be okay. It's done now. What's it say? Let's see what happened. How many receiving yards do you think Royals will get in his rookie season, Mike? I want to know what you think. 301 to 600, 601 to 999, or 1,000 plus. And then there's a 0 to 300, but that's wild. Let's not go there.
I would honestly have said 0 to 300.
So you're one of the 15%.
I'll take the next one up then. I mean, it's tough. You got to think about it. Like, if he doesn't get a lot of playing time, that's a possibility with Andy Reid. If he really is slotted behind Rashee Rice, or Rashee Rice comes back super healthy, that's another thing you got to worry about. Is Juju going to take snaps from him early and often? Can Juju stay healthy? That's going to be something else.
Well, if there's any comparison
if he has a great
here,
season, it's 400.
I mean, Sky Moore had 250 and 244 in his first 2 seasons. So I think we can outdo the 300. Okay.
So let's just say 400 yards, 17 weeks. So he would have to average. Oh my God, why would this work?
Mike can't do math today.
He'd have to average about 25 yards a game to hit 400 yards. I mean, it seems easy, but there's going to be several times where he don't even get a target.
49% of the guys that voted, guys and gals that voted, said 301 to 600. They think they're going to be in that 300 to 600
probably
range.
about right.
29% said 600 to 999, and then 15% think 0 to 300 with you, and 5%. So 5% think that 1,000 yards plus in his rookie season.
I think all of those you could make an argument for. The 1,000 plus is the one that would be the tough argument because the Chiefs don't tend to have 1,000-yard receivers.
Nobody's done that, right? I mean, Rashee Rice didn't do it. Xavier Worthy didn't do it.
Who's the last one to do it? Macklin?
As a rookie? I don't think anybody.
Well, as a rookie, that's going to be even crazier. But I'm talking about just with the Chiefs in general. Who's the last 1,000-yard receiver?
Hill, probably.
Tyreek Hill, Jeremy Macklin. Was Jeremy Macklin a 1,000-yard receiver?
I don't know.
I feel like he hit it.
Ian, look that up, man.
Look
that up.
Was Jeremy Macklin a 1,000-yard receiver? What year would that be? That would have been back like 2011, maybe.
Sure.
Let me look. I'm right here. Okay. No, I take it back. It was 2015. I'm way off. 2015. Yeah, he had 1,088. He hit it.
Look at him.
About 88 yards.
Peter says, who's the backup QB for KC? Isn't he from NDSU? Gardner Minshew is wasn't he East Carolina? I don't know.
Gardner Minshew played at Washington State.
Is that where he was
But
at?
he probably transferred from somewhere. That's just where I remember him.
Let me Google it. A quick Google search can solve this, Michael.
Minshew. Well, we also have Chris Oladokin.
Yeah. Minshew was Washington State, East Carolina, Troy.
So we were both right.
But he started out at Northwest Mississippi Community College.
Yeah. I'm going to say that's way worse than D2.
Good job, Gardner.
He played at a community college.
Let's see here. Fellas, call the 7 wide receivers that will make the roster, says Samuel. We did this earlier, but let's go ahead and we'll hash. Let me call it. God bless. That last spot, though, you have to be careful. You can't pick certain people because people get upset. I think this is the year that Sky Moore and Justin Ross are gone. Right?
Yeah, it feels like it.
Let's go Rashee Rice, Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy, Jalen Royals, Nico Remigio. I'm forgetting somebody. Juju Smith-Schuster, and let's go Badger. Let's go Elijah Badger. Got to have that UDFA on there, baby.
I think they may only take 6.
That's a possibility too. But he said 7. So
I think they're going to take
who do you go with,
running back.
Who do you go with for the 7th?
My 7th, I'm going to go ahead and say that. Let's see. Who do we got? We've got the top 4 already, right? So you've got.
Who banned Bill? What Bill do?
I don't know. That's what I was trying to figure out. Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, Hollywood, Jalen Royals. I'll give 4.
Come on, man. You have to have Nico and Juju.
Yeah, Juju. I'll say Juju 5. Although Juju could be a camp cut if he doesn't stay healthy. If he were to be injured, he could turn into the Kadarius Toney kind of thing. I think it might be a possibility, Steve, where Sky Moore ends up making this team again.
No. I think they're over it, bro.
You think?
Mike, even if he had the best offseason ever, they're not going.
They did kind of. I remember Clark Hunt. Was it Hunt or Veach that was slamming stuff when he drops it?
Mark Holston, you are a loser that lives in your mom's basement eating Cheetos all day. And we don't really care. Yeah, we are Kentucky Rednecks. That's where we're at. And you know what's funny, though? We don't even live in Kansas City, and we can tell you more about the team and more about what's going to happen than the people that do. So just go ahead and see yourself out to the pit, sir.
What does it act like you have inside info?
We're definitely not insiders, but we're definitely smarter than you are. So bye. To the pit.
Hey, is it
Now
really,
would be a good time to utilize that to the pit
hold up.
emoji.
Hold
Let's
up.
go, baby.
Do people in Missouri actually think that they're less redneck than people in Kentucky?
That's hilarious, bro.
That's wild too, because look, I'm not saying everybody is. Look, everybody in Kentucky's not a redneck. Everybody in Missouri's not a redneck, but there's some backwoods places in Missouri, bro.
Yeah, come on, brother. Get it together. Mark Holston,
Was that supposed to be an insult though?
he thought it was. He thought he was doing something good there, you know. Hey,
You know,
y'all
he
keep
was-
putting to the pit. Keep putting to the pit in
He
the
was
chat. I'm
above
going to
the
try this new
age.
feature.
You know he was an old man because he used the all caps, right?
It's supposed to show the chat. It says show
You had to be
comments.
80 plus to have wrote that comment.
How do I make this? No, those are the guys that's like, you're wearing a hoodie in the summertime. That's the 80-year-olds. Or turn your hat around. It's backwards. Okay, here it goes. Here it goes.
Whoa.
Hey, I can see your all's comments on a thing. Keep
Oh, yeah.
going. It doesn't show the emoji though, so that's lame.
It's okay.
I still
What
want
was
to see
his
it
name?
say,
Mark? Everybody just write Mark. Mark sucks.
yeah.
Hashtag Mark sucks. Hell, I'll give away something.
Let's do it. Let's give away something.
Let's put Mark's comment
No,
on
let's
a
put,
poster and sell it.
Hashtag Mark is a redneck.
Hey,
and let's give something away.
We should put me and your faces on Mark's comment and sell it as a poster. Like put the comment and put our faces above his head.
But Mark's in the pit. We can't see it no more. Anyway, yeah, this little feature down here, it's the first time I've tried this. So if you guys can control yourselves, we might use this one more often. That way we can see what you guys are talking about.
There's no, I mean,
Right
I don't
there
think
live.
they could possibly say. I
On the
don't want to
screen.
say. I don't want to make this a challenge to try to say something that would get us banned.
Yeah, let's
But
not
I
worry
don't
about
think
Mark.
there would be that much. Yeah, nobody's worried about Mark. Like, come on, Steve. I'm gonna get. Look, I'm gonna say 95%. That was a burner of somebody else's. Channel.
It's another channel that's upset
burner.
because we get more plays
We
than
get
they
that
do.
a lot.
It's
How
like,
dare a channel from Kentucky have 50,000 subscribers?
and I'm here in Kansas City and I'm working so hard.
Yeah, well, look. At least I didn't vote on a 0.007% tax that got them completely took out of the state. So put that one on your resume too, idiot.
Yeah, bum. You get bum.
Oh well.
Hey, appreciate you all being here today. Do us a favor, hit that like button if you haven't already. We're going to take a couple more questions and then get out of here for the day. We stayed a little late, a little extra. We were a little late, so we'll stay a little extra. But get some questions in if you have them. We'll try to get to those. But yeah, hit the like button if you haven't. If you're watching on X or Facebook, share it out with your friends. Hell, if you're on YouTube, share the video out. If you haven't watched our video from yesterday that dropped, go watch that after we get off here today. It's only about 10 minutes or so. Full disclaimer, there's a Mando ad in there, so don't freak out.
Look, I'm going to tell you how you could control that Mando ad.
Hey, I put chapters on there. You can literally
Just
click to the next
chapter.
chapter. Yeah,
like,
come on,
look,
bro.
Mando doesn't care if you skip it. This is what we've tried to tell all these sponsors. We're YouTube creators, Steve. We know our audience and we know how audiences react. And people hate ads. That's just the way it is. But these people keep saying, we'll sponsor you, but you got to do an ad and you got to make it this big. And we're like, why do you do this? People are going to skip it.
It doesn't matter. I mean, that's the whole point. That's why you pay for ad space.
Right.
But
so guess what? They're going to pay it. You guys can skip it, but don't take it out on us. We're just trying to get paid.
hey, bourbon vanilla, baby. I forget. Mike always
That bourbon. I said,
that bourbon vanilla.
ooh, that bourbon vanilla. Look,
Hey,
I really like bourbon
hey,
vanilla.
you know what makes
fragrances.
me happy? You know what makes me happy? That some people, like when they see you spray that, they say, that bourbon vanilla. They get so mad.
You know what? That pisses off Mark hosted so bad.
He says, stupid hillbillies. I can't believe Mando's paying them to say that.
You know hillbillies don't smell like bourbon and vanilla.
They're not even from Kansas City, man. They're not even from Missouri.
They can't use Mando. They ain't from Kansas City.
Did you know there are no Chiefs fans on the planet outside of Missouri? Did you know that?
No, didn't. I had no clue. I was having a conversation the other day with somebody. I don't remember where it was. But they were talking about the Hallmark movie and how the Chiefs were so popular, whatever.
Bourbon.
And I was like, they turned it into this is going to be like a series of Hallmark movies now with other teams because now they're doing the Bills. Do you feel like it cheaped our movie a little bit? Like that they're just going to make it like not just a Chiefs one and go and stop. They're just going to turn it into like this series every year where they just
Well, I
pick
think
a
it
new
did
team
so
and do
well
it.
that they think that one's going to do well, and no one's going to watch that crap.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares
Are you
about
just going
the
to show
Bills,
like,
bro.
let me guess. Here's the ending scene. Billy Bob falls in love with Jannie Mae and they jump through a table. That's the way it is. It has to. If it doesn't end that way, Hallmark screwed it up. You know how every Hallmark movie ends with a kiss and then the credits? They've got to jump through a table together. That's how the end of it's got to be.
Mike, let's get to a couple of these questions real quick. JCP says, how about yards from Brashard Smith? How many in his rookie season? We don't have time to poll it, JCP, but we can talk about it for a second.
I'll say he'll have 250.
I'm going to go 400.
If you add all-purpose yards, I'll say 400 to 500.
That's
if
what
you
I
add
was
just
going by.
rushing. I'm going to go 250 and less.
Okay, let's go
Big
all-purpose because I think he's going to be utilized in the pass game. So let's go 400 plus. That's what I'm going with. And then we have Syracuse Chris here says, my question, think they will play Travis less and hold him back for the postseason, thinking it will be his last?
I don't, because if this is his last season, I don't think Travis is going to want to be sitting on the bench all
I
the
think
time.
Travis is probably as disgusted with the Super Bowl performance as the rest of us are, right? And then he didn't have a great season last. He had it was a good season. You could say a great season for most tight ends, but it wasn't for Travis Kelce. I think he bounces back this year. He claims he wants to come back and do this year at his best shape, in his best shape ever. He's already dropped like 25 pounds. He's been doing the work. So I think that you have to kind of get Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce back on that, wavelength that they've always been on, because that was missing last year and that sucked. So, and then I also think that you will probably see Noah Gray again quite a bit. We did beginning of last year, and it was great. I mean, Noah was having a killer season, and all of a sudden they went away from that. And then there's some other options too. Jared Wiley should be back healthy, and then if Brenningstoll makes the squad. So we'll see. Let's see, man. TGZ says, Kentucky Rednecks, how dare you run the most horned up Chiefs podcast? It takes a redneck to not be boring, You have to have a little redneck in you. Be exciting. We can't all wear, button-up shirts and act like we're lawyers and such, and we know everything, sir. Okay?
Man, the last thing I want to get my Chiefs news from is a guy wearing a button-up shirt.
Right? Or a guy that literally...
I'm just not doing it. Right? Like, I want people that look like they understand football. Somebody told me that yesterday. They said they said their wife didn't like our channel and that they make them watch it. I don't remember who it was, but I was like, well, what don't she like? And she said that we effortlessly get things correct and it comes off as like maybe we're a little too like football knowledgeable and arrogant.
Well,
and I was like, well,
stupidest
that's
thing
a
I've ever
compliment and I appreciate it.
Well, look, football knowledge, I'm not Andy Reid. I I use common sense. See, Julia, I don't know. Thumbs tend to do well in our space.
Thumbs. Oh, thumbs. People love thumbs.
They do. Even if they're
get
little
it.
thumbs. Little thumbs, big thumbs,
Steve,
they don't
do we
care.
need to thumb up a little more? I think we have to thumb up more. I think that's the only way to be
I
taken
don't know
seriously.
how do you thumb up?
You're just stiff. Let's just be stiff and not say, you just say all factual information. Here we go.
JCP
Chiefs
says,
wear red and gold.
my wife digs it, so F off, lady. Let's go, baby. Let's go, JCP. Doug, our boy Doug says, yards and touchdowns for Mahomes this season. This is a great question because he is
He's
going to
7,000 yards.
He is going to be the MVP. So I doubt you see 50 touchdowns, 5,000 plus,
No,
5,500 yards like
that's done with Andy.
2018. But I do think that you're going to see 40 plus touchdowns. So he's going to be back in that 40 plus touchdown club and probably 5,000 yards. So I think it's going to be close. He's going to be
that's
very,
a lot,
very close.
man.
He's going to be very close to what he did back in the day because he's going to go scorched earth.
Can I give you a realistic thing and you not say
That was
Mike,
realistic.
you're too doom and gloom, you're negative?
That was realistic.
Can I just give you the realistic numbers of what I think it is and you just be serious?
Sure. Let's go.
4,200 yards passing, 33 touchdowns, and 8 picks. I think that'll be somewhere around the stats.
Sure. But I think he's going to be MVP. So I think he's going to do better.
You don't think that's MVP numbers?
No, not unless you're Josh Allen and they just give it to you by proxy. This guy hasn't had it yet, and he can't win a damn Super Bowl, so let's give him the MVP.
True. Give him a Hallmark movie, too. Make him feel good.
Peter says, who will replace Travis? Noah Gray. I think that's they paid him a 3-year contract. I think they have every intention of using Noah Gray. And we saw at the beginning of last season, he's very effective if they use him. Could you imagine if Noah Gray, love Travis Kelce, love that he's still going. I think he's going to have a good season this year. But if Travis was gone, let's just say Travis retired this offseason and Noah Gray started at tight end, I bet you he would have close to 1,000 yards receiving.
Yeah, I mean, I can see him.
Don't make that face because
I don't think they've got enough. I don't think him and Mahomes have enough
because he's not
chemistry.
out there all the time. If he was the number one tight end and he was on the field more,
but you also see what Kelce looked like when he got a little aged and didn't have that chemistry there. It kind of fell off for him too. So I think Noah could get that. I like him. I think Brenningstool's kind of like the. Isn't he kind of like the X factor here? Can he beat out Jared Wiley? If not, does he just go to the practice squad, fall off into oblivion? How does that work? Does Jared Wiley come back healthy?
Man, I don't know. I think Jared Wiley, he's a different kind of beast. To me, he's just like a big-bodied red zone target. I don't know if he'd ever be like your number one, but I could be wrong. I think that he could be utilized for sure, but I don't know. That one was a head scratcher for me when they picked him, if you remember, in the 4th round. And if you think about that, in comparison, they got Jalen Royals in the 4th round this year. So a guy of that caliber, they were able to get in the 4th round. There were some guys still on the board, and they took Jared Wiley. So they have some faith in him. But I don't know, man. I just think it's going to be the Noah Gray show when Kelce's done. They literally just extended him last year for 3 years. So this will be the 2nd year of his contract.
He don't have much time, though. If Kelce were to extend his career further than this season,
yeah, then it could be a different story.
What are you going to do? You're running out of time with Noah Gray. How old is Noah Gray?
Yeah.
Almost 27 by now?
Yeah.
The dude went to Duke. I mean, that's going to age you a lot trying to do those academics every day.
Hey, 3 picks for my homeboy all season, Ray says. Just 3. Man, that's a bold statement with how Patrick Mahomes likes to get sometimes.
Noah Gray's
sometimes
26.
when McClone shows up, he gets 3 picks and a quarter. Like in the Super Bowl. He's like, here you go. You get one, and you get one, and you get one. Yeah. Let's see here. Justin Blackwell said can't stand the Ivy League dorks on NFL and ESPN. Yeah, they're dorks. JCP says he thinks Brenningstool could shock some people. I think so too. If he were to show out in camp and they like what they see from him as far as a pass catching guy, because let's be honest here, Brenningstool's kind of a wide receiver, which is kind of what everyone said about Kelce too. But if he were to make the squad and they were to give him some chances, I think he'll cash in. If you go watch his tape, man, he's that guy. He'll make a play for you. So it all depends on A, getting the opportunities, B,
it's hard. Look,
getting
it's
the targets.
Hard for me. I know, Steve, that people in the offseason just horn up over all these new guys, new faces, new names. Everybody's excited, but you got to remember the Louis Rees-Zammit stuff of last year and how everybody thought he was going to take over RB1.
Mike,
we were stupid because we said that he
no
may not
doom
make
and
the
gloom.
roster.
No doom and gloom over here. The redneck said that, I don't think this guy that's never played football before in his life is going to do very well in the NFL.
So that's what I'm saying. These UDFAs got a big uphill struggle. And matter of fact, it's not even UDFAs. I'm talking rounds 4+ have a big struggle. And sometimes round 1 and 2, if you're looking at Sky Moore and Kingsley. So, dude, we've had some first-round picks that's fell off the wayside. So
Julia going all out, baby. I don't know about all pro, but he's definitely going to have a good season, I think. We're going to have a lot of fun with Mr. Jaden Hicks this year. He's always around that football, man. Very Honey Badger-esque, and he's going to get a lot more opportunities. It's going to be fun, man. A lot of people wanted to see Jaden Hicks a lot more last year.
I think Jaden Hicks is going to have a pretty good season this year.
Callie Cash, did you say McClone? Yeah, that's what we call the bad Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, he's
McClones.
Because he's not real.
No, it's not even him.
There's no way a guy that is that good 99% of the time could be that bad 1% of the time.
It makes no sense. You go back to the second half of the AFC Championship game against the Bengals. You go to the Super Bowl this last year against the Eagles. McClone just showed up a time or two, I think against the Raiders on Christmas Day. And by the way, don't do that again, Patrick. you have to actually show up. You can't send your clone out just because it's Christmas, son. Like
Yeah.
you got a lot of
quit with
people's
that.
Christmas riding on you. Don't ruin everybody's Christmas. Don't be a Krampus. Just do your job, sir. But yeah, Doug says pitchforks are going to come out heavily if Sky Moore makes the 53.
Yeah. They may fly something over Arrowhead that says
Yeah.
"Sky sucks" on it, or "The sky is falling." What else are we gonna do?
They're going to storm Arrowhead Stadium with the pitchforks. They're going to do it. I can see it. It's going to be like that scene from Waterboy where they're all outside with like the torches and the.
He said,
yeah.
"Oh no, we suck again."
It's going to be great. Yeah, we'll see. Peter says, will Patrick take more control of the play calling? I think he needs to, and I think Patrick needs to get out of his own head a little bit too. Patrick's just got to get back to throwing the football. Sling it. Let's see what happens. I mean, hell, when you're being conservative with it, you still threw 3 picks in a quarter or 2 and a quarter in the Super Bowl. So why not just get out there and let it go?
Honestly, I don't even know if he looked very conservative. It looked like to me he was just throwing it to anybody he could find.
That's why, though. He's always like double, like pumping the football.
He's
like,
aiming it.
Literally, it's like Daddy's home too with the snowball. Are you going to throw that thing, or are you going to keep pump faking me, Brad? Like that's what Mahomes was doing, and then throwing interceptions. It was ridiculous. John Johnson from Facebook says, is the defensive or offensive front going to be an upgrade from last season? I think the defensive line is 100% an upgrade. I think Gelati, Omar Norman Lott could produce in their rookie seasons. George is going to have a good year. Chris is going to have a good year. He's Chris Jones. And then I think Omenahue's on that contract where it's like you mentioned.
Omenahue's going to surprise.
He's going to have to, because he gets out there and he acts like he's the greatest of all time and he wants the big, massive contract. This is his chance to prove it. Stay healthy, kick some ass. And then you also got even UDFAs that are kind of exciting. If you go watch Keziah Izzard tape from Penn State, that kid's fun. And I think that he could be a surprise for some people. So
he played on a massive defensive line. He played with some big names, man. Chop Robinson.
Yes.
He played with that kid that got drafted this
Abdul
year. In
Carter?
the top 5, Abdul Carter. So.
Cali Cash says, I wonder, will Norman Lott be a beast like Turk? So I think Norman Lott's ceiling's higher than Turk's.
I do too.
Dude, I'm telling you, these people want to talk about that being a reach or not understanding the Norman Lott pick, or some people, like even on other Chiefs channels and stuff around here, just absolutely can't stand Norman Lott. They think it's stupid. I don't know what the hell tape they watched. I don't know what tape they watched.
They're watching bad tape because, Steve, their critique was he cannot get off the line.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Like that was what stuck out. Like the minute you start watching,
dude,
go watch the Senior Bowl and tell me he's slow.
Bowl.
Yeah,
he literally took the handoff from the quarterback to the running back.
Norman Lott's got a lot of potential, dude. If he can pan out, he could be an absolute monster.
Steve, I think it's just people trying to sound smart, wanting to be different.
Darren says we really need a secondary to click this year. We got burnt last year. I think
secondary is going to be an upgrade this year too.
That goes along with the pass rush too. If we can get more pressure on the quarterback, Christian Fulton. I think it's going to be Jalen Watson, Christian Fulton, and Trent McDuffie for the most part. But I think Noel Williams could crack that.
Noel Williams and Josh Williams could obviously make the team. I think that might be your 5. I think they took 6 last year though.
Yeah,
Nazee's going to get it right.
Speaking
because
of
they just signed him for.
Speaking of Noel Williams and us being rednecks, I think it was funny on the video yesterday when I was editing the video. I was too horned up when I was talking. I kept calling him Noel Williams. Just no. He's not Noel. He was just No Williams.
No Williams.
Yeah, dude. What is it with the Chiefs and Williams in the secondary? They went and got Major. They got Noel. They had Josh. They love it, bro. They love it. I think maybe me or you could be.
I was getting ready to say you're looking at your next safety duo here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dumb and dumber.
Dumb and dumber.
Slow and slower out there, running a 5.2 40. Hey, I give Jaden Hicks all he wants.
Mike, you could do it. You can do it.
But not.
Just got to get in shape. You got to do what Travis Kelce did. You have to have your best. You have to be in your best shape going into next year. Then you're going to be great. Okay,
dude. I could get in my best shape ever at the age of 42. I could not.
All right, guys. Appreciate y'all being here. Do us a favor. Hit the like button on the way out. Also, go watch the video that was released yesterday with Brashard Smith on the thumbnail. Go watch that bad boy if you haven't yet. Appreciate you guys that donated and gifted memberships. You guys are the real ones. Let's freaking go. Thanks for the support, and we'll catch you next time. Go Chiefs.
Get wild.